Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working on a 5.7 Volvo Penta ECM. This is a EGC computer, so this is a Econtrols. This is a computer. It's actually a fairly new computer. This is Elroy. I don't have actually his address. Let me see if I can see, because he contacted me through my website. So let me see if I can see his information in our conversation because he didn't send a note with the computer. All I have is his email and telephone, but not an address, so I'm not sure exactly where he's from. So Elroy Nevares, this is your computer. Yeah, I don't have his information. So I'm right now running the computer. I got one of the firewall reference, and I'm going to switch it over to the other one, so we can see that we have both firewall reference completely active and good. This is a newer model computer, and it has capabilities of catalog converters and oxygen sensors and more things that are not connected, but that's actually good because I can test the logic. His reason is no crank no start. So reading his notes, let me go back to there. It says, Mike took my boat to a shop to see what the issue with my boat is. I replaced a lot of parts on thinking it was the issue and it still wouldn't start. The shop told me that they don't know the issue and maybe it could possibly be the ECM because there is no mechanical issues and the boat doesn't want to turn or something about not getting the 300 RPMs and need to turn the boat on. Well, cranking, the computer is not in charge of the cranking. I mean, yes, the starter signal, but the cranking is completely the starter. So you have to check your charging system, starting power to the starter and all that stuff because the cranking will, an engine not reaching 300 RPMs, that's either you have a better starter, a bit ground, something else, but definitely not the module. The module will just engage the starter. And I don't have to actually see the entire thing, but knowing these computers, I know so about the signal where it's coming from. All right, so the computer is running. This is a 5.7, so it uses a signal, IST signal that will go over to the distributor module, which is the ignition module in there. And we have 8 injectors. We can see all the 8 injectors working. Not a problem. We have main power relay on and fuel pump relay on. We had the signals in there, so I got the 2 injector signals that I usually collect, and then the ESC, nice and steady, no glitches, no nothing, and it runs every single time. So I'm going to turn this off. We see that we miss the signals from injection and EST, and I'm going to turn it back on, and it starts immediately, not even a second, nothing. I mean, it's very low computer hours, so it only has 35.27 hours, so the computer is in perfect condition. Nothing that will prevent the engine from not starting. Let me just see, make sure what we have in here. Soft warning output. Yes, we got a soft and a hard warning output due to says low rev limited status exactly, but yeah, those are limiters, so those are normal. Let me see if I see anything else in here. No. As far as codes, I want you to see that we have, well, this active is now the two. Again, something's not connected. The TCP, which is in the throttle actuator, which I'm not having connected. I don't need it for the test, and I need to run in here. Previously active faults and pending list of faults. This is the one that concerns me the most. Cam position sensor. Yes, definitely. If the computer doesn't see the cam sensor or the crankshaft position sensor, it will never start. So this is where you will need to start your testing in the boat. I can check fiber reference and sensor ground. Both I check two of the sensor grounds and two of the fiber reference, which is only two on this computer, and they're all good. So again, not a problem in here. Let me go over to the system information. We can see that this computer was manufactured in 2014, December of 2014. So this is a 2015 computer. This is the engine serial number. Well, actually, it's all nines. Not sure why, but well, that's what we have here. And all the operating parameters that the computer has for us technicians to see. We can also the history of the hours and RPMs as it's being used, or it has been used, and then misfires on cylinders 2, 3, and 4, and 5. One time, two times. So that's not really something that I will even consider to address. But yeah, for the rest, everything is in good shape. This computer, and this is something I can show you here too. So if I turn this off, I'm going to disconnect the computer from here, and we're going to deselect. This is Diacom, so I select Volvo Penta EGC CAN 4G CAN because this is the newest computer, so it talks in CAN network. We're going to select the module as I'm doing now, and I can do all these tests. The first, where we were before, is engine data. I can go into injector monitor, throttle monitor, fuel control, gauge, dry quality, O2 feedback, misfire monitors, and high-speed O2 monitors. Again, for what we're doing in here, I always select that first menu, and this is where we are. All right, sorry guys, I got hung up because Elroy just called me. So Elroy, I was just finishing having a conversation with you about the concerns that I found on your computer. I mean, the computer is actually perfect, right? So just as we spoke, and this is the sensor fault codes that I have. Let me just bring this down here. So this is the one I feel is your problem is the camshaft sensor fault. Camshaft sensor signal loss. This is a main player. If you're losing this signal, definitely the boat will not run. And it seems like it happened when you were planing on the boat because I mean like actually enjoying because it was at 4,000 RPMs when it died. You can see it was 4,000 and then it set up the fault and that's it. But if we go back to my test, again, we're still connected to the computer. It's not running. So I'm going to turn these again off. So we can see that we're going to lose communication in there in a second. Yes, there is the synchronization line. I'm going to turn this on. Fuel pump and main power relay comes on. And look at here the injectors, and you will see all these lights as soon as I turn them on. It's immediately coming on. So we have the EST and the injectors all working. We got milliseconds of injection and it's running every single time. So the computer, again, not a problem at all. As I was explaining Elroy on the phone, and this is for all that are watching the videos in here. Camshaft or crankshaft position sensor signals most likely are a three-wire sensor. I will have to actually see the new um, diagram for him. So let me just actually find it because I don't have the engine serial. Let me just see if I can get it from here because I got it just shows 9999s and with only 9999s it's going to be hard to find the correct wiring diagram because in Diacom, and this is very important, I'm going to show you this on here. I gotta disconnect to get to the manuals, but in Diacom it's built in all the manuals for Volvo Penta. If I click in here and I select Volvo Penta, I can go into all this is great information. So here's is a 5.7. Make sure that you read this from 2006 to 2012. So if we're going beyond that, so we're probably going to have, and this is where I don't know if we have a G or H or J, K, or M model, because this is only for wire diagrams. We have also the diagnostic book for the 2015. So let's click in here. Now we're in the diagnostics for his boat. It says 350, 380, and 430. So let me take a look because he sent me a pictures of his stickers on the boat. Let me see what we have here. Looks like it's a 300. Let me download this picture so I can see that better. Or we can all see this better. You see it says BA 300. Hmm. So yeah, it makes sense because it's a no, but it's a 5.7. 5.7 should be, let me see in horsepower, 5.7 liters to horsepower. Yeah, it says, well, depends on, let me see, 3057, 395. So it could be even a 350 or 380. So this says 300, and these are for 350, 380, and 430 again. So without having the correct information from the customer, because I don't have the engine serial, all I know is it's a 5.7, And we can see here on the system information, all I see is it's a engine displacement 5.7, but it doesn't tell me anything else. Let me see, current model, engine serial 51003, or ECM serial, sorry, but not engine serial, so I don't have that information in here. So, yep, I will have to just do a guess. Let me put that up there again as I have it. So, I like to keep these two always together. But yeah, going into the manual again that we were seeing, let me turn this light so we don't get this reflection in the screen. Let's see where we're going. Um, General specifications, design and function. So let's do a search. So Control F, and let's see if we can see CKP. All right, so CKP, we got not sure how many. Okay, so perfect. Ah, this is actually great because he was asking me, I don't know where that sensor is located. So this is the CMP, Elroy. So as I was telling you, it's on the timing cover, and the CMP is actually, let me just think about it, because I don't think it's this one. Does it have both in the front? It says the camshaft position actuator is attached to the camshaft and is hydraulically operated in order to change the angle to the camshaft relative to crankshaft position. CKP, the CMP actuator solenoid is controlled by the control module. The control module sends a pulse width modulator 12 volts signal to a CMP actuator solenoid. The solenoid controls the amount of engine oil flow to a CMP actuator, so it has variable timing. Can change the camshaft angle at a maximum of 35 degrees. So this is, as you can see, is a very modern engine. So we have a solenoid right here. So this is the solenoid, and this is the camshaft position sensor. So it is on the front of the engine, Elroy. If you're watching this, this is exactly what you're looking for. This is the sensor, not that. That's the cover of the solenoid. This will have a small plunger, and that will push into this valve. This is an oil pressure valve. So when the solenoid command by the computer pushes that pin, will allow oil to move this reluctor wheel it has a phaser that can be moved by the oil, right? And then it will return or advance the camshaft. So this is great that we found this. But yeah, this is I want to see. Okay, perfect. Okay, let me just see. This is the crankshaft position sensor. So this is excellent information. So I'm going to send this to you, Elroy, so you can have this information if you want to do a test. Because I was explaining, if you're in the boat and you don't know which one is power, which one is ground, and which one is the signal, right? Because it's a three-wire sensor, so you need power and ground, and then the signal that is going to the computer. So it looks like the computer is sending the power. So we got a 5-volt reference that goes into, I will say, CKP positive, right? So pin 19. And if we go into here, guess what? That is pin 19, right? So I checked that the computer 5-volt reference on pin 19 is good. And we're looking for sensor ground, pin 22. Well, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is pin 20. And this one, what is this other one in here? This is actually 50, so I don't have P22 here. So I have to look into pin 22. I have too many wires attached to this, but you see what I'm saying? So I got one of the sensor grounds in here. I'm not using the other one, or specifically for the camshaft position sensor. You have to check that on the boat. So you go to the connector on the sensor, you connect one lead of your multimeter on voltage, right? Like I'm doing in here. I said these are my multimeter leads. So I have one lead to the battery voltage, and the other one I will touch the sensor ground. I will touch the three wires with ignition on, doesn't matter, right? Only one of those wires will show me battery voltage. Why? Because it's a ground. If I touch the three wires of the sensor with the meter on the battery, right, positive, and I don't read battery voltage, is because I am missing the sensor ground. Now, if the ground is good, I now move the lead of the multimeter to the battery negative, and then I touch the other lead of the multimeter to the same three wires. I already know, let's say in this one, that the center one is the ground, so I don't need to retest that one. And I touch the other ones. I would even recommend to retest all the three wires just to make sure that now you're not reading voltage when you touch the center one, because that will mean that it's shorted to power. But if it's shorted to power, that will not show you ground. So, you see what I'm trying to explain in here as well. So if I check the other two wires and now boom, I got 5 volt reference in here. Well, I'm pretty close to say that wiring integrity as far as powers and grounds is good. So now my next test will be to check the sensor signal. Well, that signal is a square wave, right? So it's going to be a signal that is going to be 0 to 5 volts. 0 to 5 volts depends on how many teeth the crankshaft reluctor has. And that will, as you crank, will create that square wave. In order to see that, you will need an oscilloscope, kind of like what we have here. So this is what I always show this on my tests, because this is kind of like the crankshaft position sensor signal. You will see a flat line and then a tooth. This is the tooth on the reluctors. This is a square wave form, but you cannot see that on a multimeter. The multimeters are not fast enough, depends how fast that signal is to show you that. They will just show you an average, and you will not know if the signal is good or not. So a mechanic, a diagnostician, they have to have an oscilloscope, and you don't need to have a fancy, expensive oscilloscope like this. You can have oscilloscope like, I mean, this is also expensive because this is a handheld oscilloscope from Fluke, but you can buy online and very inexpensive $400 handheld oscilloscopes. They have multimeters and they have capabilities to show you the signals, and that will help you diagnose your own boat, or if you're a technician, help you diagnose your customer's boat. And that needs to be tested. That same test that I just told you, you have to do it on the CMP, again, the camshaft position sensor signal, and then you will find your problem. All right, guys, I hope that you like all this content and all the information and see how far I go along to help my customers, not just the diagnosis in here. I'm trying to help them on how to fix their boat. All right, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye bye.